What if I told you that, in the dead of night, in a sleepy village tucked away in Cornwall, a couple witnessed something so bizarre, so otherworldly, that it's still discussed over 40 years later? A craft. A light. Two beings watching them. And it left behind something far more compelling than you might think. No, this isn't a scene from the X-Files. This is the true story of the 1979 Bissoe alien encounter, a case that has quietly sat in the archives of British UFO history, until now. Round pushpin, setting the scene. Let's rewind to January 29, 1979. The UK was in a strange place at the time, literally and figuratively. Margaret Thatcher was a few months away from becoming Prime Minister. The country was in the middle of the winter of discontent, a season of strikes, inflation, and social unrest. There was a general feeling of chaos, change, and uncertainty. In the midst of all this political and social turbulence, a small hamlet near Truro in Cornwall, Bissoe, became the setting for one of the most compelling close encounters of that year. House with garden, the witnesses, 5:30 to 8:30. Our story centers on a married couple, whose names were deliberately kept out of most reports to protect their privacy. They lived in a rural, isolated cottage, no street lights, no neighbors in sight. On that cold winter night, they were fast asleep, until something woke them. It was like someone had switched on a floodlight in the bedroom, one of them later said. Not just a little glow, the entire room was bathed in white light. They got up and looked outside. What they saw would change their lives forever. Flying saucer, the encounter. Floating right outside their second-story window was a glowing, oval-shaped craft, roughly the size of a minibus, just hovering. It was silent. No humming, no engine sounds, just stillness. Inside the craft were two figures. Humanoid. Long hair. Slender builds. The beings were clearly observing the couple, as if just as surprised to be seen. And then, in an instant, the craft vanished. No sound. Just a flash, and gone. Pause. Think about that for a moment. You're lying in bed, and a literal UFO appears outside your window, with beings inside. No noise. No warning. Just, watching. Engagement moment. What would you do if that happened to you? Let me know in the comments. Would you run, hide, or try to get their attention? Magnifying glass tilted left, aftermath and evidence. Now, what makes this case especially interesting is what happened next. White heavy checkmark multiple forms of evidence. Witness testimony. The couple gave matching accounts in separate interviews. They were described as calm, educated, and not seeking attention. Light anomalies. The brightness of the light was abnormal. Neighbors in nearby hamlets reported seeing a strange glow in the sky that night. Psychological aftereffects. The couple reportedly had dreams of the encounter for weeks. Mild insomnia, disorientation, effects similar to those described in other close encounter cases like the Walton Incident in Arizona. Did something more happen that night, something the couple couldn't consciously remember? Brain, context, 1970s UK UFO mania. It wasn't just Bissoe. The late 1970s were a hotbed for UFO sightings in the UK. Wiltshire, February 1979, a glowing object followed a man driving home, the car radio went static, and he lost track of time. Berwyn Mountain Incident, 1974, sometimes called the British Roswell, involving a crash, military presence, and missing files. Even Bonnybridge, Scotland would soon rise as a UFO hotspot. Lesser-known fact, in 1979, the UK Ministry of Defence recorded over 750 UFO reports, nearly double from the year before. Magnifying glass tilted left, connections to other cases, 2130 to 2400 hours. Let's connect the dots, the silent movement of the craft. Matches dozens of CE3, close encounter of the third kind, cases from the 60s and 70s. Humanoid beings with long hair. These descriptions come up in European cases, like the Valensole, France incident of 1965, and even in South American sightings. Post-encounter trauma. A staple of abduction or contact phenomena. Speculation moment, could this craft have been on a scouting mission? Observing rural human behavior. Testing our response. Or was it an accident, a wrong place, wrong time scenario for both parties? DNA, skeptical angles and open questions, 24:00, 26:30. Now, skeptics might say, it was just a helicopter. But local air traffic control confirmed there were no flights that night in the area. It was sleep paralysis. Sure, but two people having the same hallucination at the same time. It was a hoax. Yet they never sought publicity, never wrote a book, never asked for money. So we're left with a big, shimmering question mark. Alien, why it still matters, 26:30, 28:00. The Bissoe case remains unexplained. It lacks physical debris, sure, but it offers clear, vivid, corroborated witness testimony. It represents a class of UFO encounter that's personal, quiet, and strangely intimate. These kinds of cases rarely make headlines, but they build the foundation of something much bigger. Wrap up, final thoughts. So what do we do with stories like this? Do we brush them off as imagination? Do we catalog them as folklore? Or, maybe, do we start to ask bigger questions? If these beings are out there, why come to Bissoe? Why Cornwall? Why hover outside a window, and leave without a trace? And finally, what do you think really happened that night in 1979? Did a rural couple truly witness beings from another world? Or was it something even stranger? Let me know in the comments, and if you've ever had a strange encounter, drop your story below. I might just feature it in an upcoming episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep watching the skies. Until next time, stay curious. Cue outro music, synth fades out.